Two things to know about me. One, I have a high tolerance for pain, even to the point to where I think I've begun to like it. And two, well, I suffer from this condition, whereas I have this overwhelming yet annoying urge to fill every single hole that I see, which is probably why I'm banned from hotel pools in at least 13 states, but hey, that's a whole nother story. What I'm trying to say is I often insert myself into things I have no business being in. Empty spaces. Some drought and dreary, others warm and welcoming, neither necessarily negative, both toxically tempting, but all purposely penetrated. What can I say? I just can't help myself, I guess. I'm what you would call a deviant. Example. Sometimes I recklessly shove this brick-shaped heart into round holes, attempting to make love fit in places where it's unwelcome. And why not? I mean, shouldn't everybody feel the type of love that a poet writes about at least once in their lifetime? I mean, hell, God told me to love thy neighbor as thyself, and I love me some self. So I push and I prod, I stomp and I thrust this love muscle into tiny spaces, its corner edges wearing down, wearing thin, rounding out, bleeding out, percolating red droplets through tightly cupped fingers. Maybe I misunderstood when my heart told me that it could find happiness laying out between two palms, because I automatically ripped it out of my chest, no questions asked, and tried to force it into your closed fists. And when you asked me what I was doing, I said, don't worry, I can make it fit. So you watched me. You watched me in my attempt to jam-pack my love into your world, whether there was room for it or not. And I, so amazed at what I had accomplished, stood there proudly like, there, you see? Look how snug my heart fits into your hands. Your infant hands. Unready to love. Unequipped with healing energy, simply unaware of the fragility of what it was holding. Sure, it was crammed and crumpled, cramped and rumpled into your grasp that fumbled it every time. It was a slippery little thing. So no fault of yours or mine, but I'm sure with your hands full of hatchets, maybe my heart just became too hard to handle all its pulsating and pumping, trying to find its way back to its old shape again, trying to find its way out of hands that I often forced it back into because it knew that somewhere, somebody's hands would cradle it like a newborn baby. But not like how a newborn would cradle a new toy. More like how a new mother would cradle her new joy and wouldn't stop cradling that new boy except to place him into a cradle itself, or until he could find the arms of a new love who knew love so well that she'd know how to carry him better than his mother could. But since that could never happen, maybe just until he reached into his chest and ripped out his heart and placed it into her hands, knowing that he couldn't live without her. See, that's what we like to call cradle to grave. And see, even when I don't realize it, my heart knows that somebody's hands fit around it like gloves, that warm and protected, that do not fumble, hands that are not yours, hands that move in tandem with all this abstract palpitation. See, my heart just wants to dance rhythmlessly in someone's hands without fearing the fear of falling. It just wants to waltz into a room, ballet to bachata, tango to salsa, dare dance, hip-hop without breaking, 2 steps to loving me. 1, become equipped and understand the awkward rhythm of my heartbeat. And 2, hold on to it like life itself. You can see my heart's been hoping for a home. A place where it fits, where its rough edges meet soft hands that carefully caress its corners and mold it into what a heart should look like. My only hope is that my heart finally finds its home in a perfectly heart-shaped hole before I damage it beyond recognition, trying to force it into another set of hands where it's unwelcome hands, so unworthy of holding something so priceless, or even worse, before I shove it in another brick-shaped box and lower it into a dark hole that this time it cannot find its way out of. A little game that we all play with our hearts called cradle to grave, poetically speaking.